And welcome back to Who Would Win. Yeah, I didn't get it out yesterday, work and schedule, but I have some time before I go to work today, so I figure I'd do it now. And this one comes to us from Phantom X, who asked the question, and I have no idea what that just happened there, but anyway, who asked the question, who would win in a fight? Lord Boros from One Punch Man versus Saitama, versus Saitama, because we know who won that, versus Edo tensei Madara Uchiha from the Naruto series. So I've done Madara at least once before, but bears repeating. The difference is I did Living Madara. I did him at his most hacks. So we have to scale back a little bit on his power. Madara Uchiha was basically he wasn't truly the founder of the Uchiha clan, but in Konoha, he was one of the founders of Konoha, and arguably one of the strongest shinobi ever to exist in the Naruto world. He was a master of warfare. He spent years, decades on the battlefield. Or at least a decade on the battlefield. So he was born and raised in war. Brilliant tactician, brilliant on-the-fly strategist, amazingly durable enough to, even in his normal base form, like in human form, he could tank tail beasts, like blows from the tail beast without too much difficulty. He had amazingly enhanced speed, even without chakra enhancement. His strength was pretty on par. He had a war fan which could repel attacks. Master of swordsmanship, kunai, you name it. Then, of course, you get into his Sharingan capabilities, which were on a mastered level. Sharingan Genjutsu, copying opponents' movements and techniques. His Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which allowed him to... Actually, I don't believe his actually allowed him to use Amaterasu. To the best of my knowledge, I don't remember. I don't think it let him use that. It also didn't let him use Tsukiyomi either. I mean, he could use the Eternal one when he got like the Rinnegan and all that, but he couldn't use Tsukiyomi or that. He did have his Susanoo though, which was pretty hacks because he had a perfected Susanoo, whereas Itachi technically did not. And it basically took the form of like a giant samurai that could pretty much just blast away the landscape with just a single swipe. So it was immensely powerful. Then, of course, you also had his Rinnegan capabilities. And he has all this in his Edo form, which we'll talk about the Edo near the end of his description, which allowed him to numerous amounts of Rinnegan capabilities, including summoning a giant freaking meteor from outer space and throwing it on top of people. He was a master of fire jutsu. Theoretically, he was a master of every jutsu, given the fact he had the Rinnegans. We had access to every chakra capability there was. He had no actual true summoning jutsu, to the best of my knowledge, though he could summon the tail beast and the Getomasu, the 10-tail statue, if he had to. But then you'd have to talk about the Edo form, his Edo tensei form, which was basically his zombie form, his resurrected form. Now, in this form, I believe he was technically he was under control, but he was under orders more than anything else. He was brought back to life by Kabuto during the fourth Shinobi War, and basically he had unlimited regeneration, unless you're dealing with things that negate ninjutsu, which later on, like the truth-seeking orbs and stuff like that, negated ninjutsu. So it negated the regeneration capabilities of the jutsu. However, it's possible, mind you, and he says that it was designed to wipe away the opponent's field while having the target regenerate. It's possible that if you were to theoretically incinerate the entirety of his being, because most of these individuals have like tags, like ceiling tags in them that enable you to control them. If you could theoretically destroy the tag inside them, you would break control of them. Excuse me. Or if you were to basically destroy or kill the user of the technique, you could in theory stop it. But generally, the only way to truly defeat them was to seal them away. So that's more or less Madara. I'm sure I've skipped over a laundry list of abilities, but that's the general gist. Lord Boros, I can't remember the name of his race, or if they named it at all, but he was basically like a warrior king from a different galaxy who came to Earth seeking, because of a prophecy saying he would meet a great warrior to finally challenge him. He becomes so powerful, no one could challenge him. And then he eventually met Saitama and lost. But he still was, up until that point, the strongest opponent ever to show up in One Punch Man. I don't know if they'll rectify that at some point with more stronger opponents later on, but he was the strongest up until that point. He was a master of warfare, having been around for countless, like eons, I think. I don't know if it was eons, but it was a long time. He was pretty old, in terms of just how long his existence had been. He was already a brilliant warrior, combatant. But he wore an armor just to keep his power restrained, basically like a sealing armor. And even then, he could take a punch from Saitama, a normal punch, and shrug it off, basically. And then his real power got released. So he was still immensely powerful with the armor on. When you release the armor, his full power is released, and it was enough that he actually gave Saitama a good fight. And Saitama, even knows, like, dude, he was the strongest guy I fought so far. Yeah, he was really strong. It was fun. I mean, he's got enhanced strength, enhanced speed. His meteor strike technique is a technique where he pretty much uses his latent energy, comes in, enhances his speed and strength, where he punched Saitama all the way to the moon and cratered the moon. But his real claim to fame was his regeneration. He could regenerate from practically anything just by concentrating. He would generate an arm within seconds just by concentrating. Saitama blew him into little bits, and he regenerated from that. However, the regeneration has a price. When you're regenerating on that level, he's using up more and more energy. He even says it drains his life force. But then when Saitama came back, he's like, this guy, he still runs, like, makes me want to go all out. And then, what was it? Thunder Roaring Cannon or something like that? Basically, it was his final technique that... There's conflicting things. It's in the manga, I believe, it says he could pretty much destroy the entire surface of the planet. But in the anime, he said he could actually destroy the entire planet. So he is either subplanetary in destructive capabilities or actually planetary in destructive capabilities. But it comes at a cost. When he actually went up against the opponent who just was stronger than he burnt out all his energy, and he eventually just ended up dying. So yeah, that is Lord Boro. So how does this fight take down? Well, let's say during the Fourth Great Shinobi War, the Madara of the Edo tensei Marada is, wreaking havoc on the field. All of a sudden, Lord Boros' ship comes down. Like, I've heard of a prophecy talking about blah, 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 blah. The shinobi deal with his minions, and then he comes and Madara and him face off. And even Madara could recognize that this guy's pretty powerful, so it should be pretty fun. Now, right off the bat, I'm gonna X out any Sharingan Genjutsu effects, because I feel like the amount of energy that he can put out, Boros, pretty much negates anything that negates the effects of a Genjutsu. Because one of the ways in Naruto you negate a Genjutsu is to basically kind of suddenly stop in your chakra, or like do basically cancel it out with other chakra. And excuse me while I take a sip of my tea with my Rick and Morty cup. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this one. Let me get this side instead. My Rick and Morty's cup. Eee! So, yeah, that's one of the ways you negate Genjutsu in the Naruto world. So, I imagine that all his latent power and just constant flexing of his energy, that would kind of negate any normal Genjutsu or even high-level Genjutsu, because Lord Boros is a pretty powerful being that Madara would throw at him. So, it immediately would go into fisticuffs right off the bat. And I think Madara is theoretically the more skilled, technically speaking, from what we've seen. Boros has just got the bigger speed and power feats on him, even with his armor on. So they're going to be trading blows, but Boros is going to comment and applaud Madara. He's going to get a good couple hits in on Madara, maybe even blast a portion of him off. Madara's going to be actually note on that. It's like, you are pretty powerful, and then he just regenerates it back. It's like, well, let's see if you can. Comes in again, but then all of a sudden the impartial Susanoo just blocks it. It's like, then just punches him straight down, slices out with a sword, breaks his armor, so now his armor's off. It's like, you broke my armor that was used to restrain my great power. That's the reason I am at full power. And all of a sudden his power's wreaking havoc. Still, Madara's not shocked or anything. He seemed like a tail beast before, but still, he recognizes this guy is pretty effing powerful. So, he's immediately like, It's like, impressive. It's like, they'll let me retort, and all of a sudden just brings a meteor down. It's like, is that the best you got? It just kind of one-punch mans it and just destroys the meteor with a strike, and then just comes in and just brings in the partial Susanoo again and cracks it this time without even going into that meteor strike attack. I don't even know if that's what it's actually called, but it's something along those lines. Just cracks it. Even Madara notices the crack, and then he starts wailing on that. Madara's just like, and then gets gets smacked off of that, gets thrown around again. His head quickly regenerates again. Then he goes full on Susanoo. Now you got this giant ass Susanoo versus Lord Boros, who's like, yes, and then he goes he powered that form with the meteor strike, comes in, just boom! You get the power of a force that sent Saitama to the moon, clashing against Susanoo's blade. The blade cracks but doesn't break, and they just collide. And he gets thrown back again, and now he just throws his blade towards him and just alters the landscape. Just, and the giant force just rips him apart. And Madara sees it again. It's like goodbye, Nat. All of a sudden he just Nat is like, who are you calling a Nat? And then Madara just like, huh? Even Madara would look at that like, whoa. And then just like, that's it. It's like, a guy like you makes me want to go out. And then he just goes into that full on final like, thunder roaring. I think it was like roaring thunder can or something like that. And then just, I will destroy the whole planet and then obliterate you. And then, Madara's like, oh crap. It's like crap. And then just blasts. Full power blast. Now, I'm going to be honest, even at the lowballed scale description where it can destroy the surface of the planet, Madara, even in Default Perfect Susanoo, does not. He can alter the surface of the planet on a small scale, but clearly they were saying that Boros could destroy the planet on a large scale, if not destroy the entire planet. Madara does not have that kind of firepower. Even when he was Six Sage Path Madara, he did not have that kind of firepower. He could not alter the surface. He could not alter the entire planet except like with a Genjutsu, and that's not the same thing. So he's able to maybe block it for a bit, but ultimately he just goes, and all I hear is just a poof, and then you see Boros just like, and then all of a sudden you see Madara behind him because he used the freaking substitution jutsu, those damn substitution jutsus, and he's Madara, he'd do it, and just finish him off with a final just all that Susanoo like blast of energy power or whatever, and just. And then there you go. So I gotta give it to Madara. If it wasn't, here's the thing. The only reason I actually give it to Madara, because I fully believe he could incinerate Madara with that blast, and there's no way Madara comes back for it. The only reason I give Madara the win is because the Susanoo, I think, would offer just enough protection for him to get a freaking substitution jutsu off, and those things are very useful, and for certain he has that jutsu. That he's like, but we never saw him use it. He is one of the strongest shinobi in all of Naruto history. If he doesn't know the substitution jutsu, I'm calling bullshit on the writer's part. So, but yeah, if it wasn't for that, I'd give it to Boros, but I gotta give it to Madara. But it's a close fight otherwise. I go 60-40. I think there's a very real scenario where Boros just obliterates him. But let me know if you think different. If you do, that's cool. Put in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I might see Super Troopers 2 tonight, but I can't guarantee it. All depending on how I'm feeling. And I know Mark really wants to see it, but we'll see what happens. I have no plans besides box office and what if this weekend, so just keep your eyes out for those. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And obviously next week, Infinity War, baby. You better be ready for it, because I better be ready for it. We all better be ready for it. Thanks for watching. Sorry, my throat's a little hoarse. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.